is called the Potawatomi case. Well, that's because it shows you some of the things that the Indians used, the very Indians who were living here in this area when the pioneers first came. The second case shows surveying instruments. About 6 or 7 years before the pioneers came, Territorial Road was surveyed, and it was instruments like this that were used. Modes of travel. The middle case shows you the stagecoach time. The lower case has some relics from train travel, and the top one you may recognize as the kind of thing that was first worn by the people who had cars, the lucky ones, way back then. Battle Creek was started with water power. That is so often the beginning of villages in early Michigan. You will notice in the map below that the Kalamazoo River and the Battle Creek River are connected. That is with a channel, because after they made the mill pond, dammed it up, and made the mill pond, there was a fall of 6 feet, and that was enough to turn several mill wheels. The case it says from the home, I'm quite sure you can discover all for yourselves. However, in the middle one, you will notice there's a gourd dipper. Well, a dipper, do you know what that is? That's something from which you drink, and you can't quite see that it's open on the other side, and it's made from a gourd which grows very much like a squash. Village services. Well, in the second from the bottom case is the very first post office that we had in Battle Creek. The top case will interest perhaps some of you boys, because those are relics from firefighting. And there's a very beautiful horn up there. Maybe you think that's out of place. Well, it isn't, because the fire chief used to have to call out the orders. In this low case, you will notice a printing press. And we made printing presses here for quite a few years. The Duplex Printing Press Company also had the first commercial airplane that was ever used in Battle Creek. You will notice a few peculiar inventions in the next case, and some school seats right next to it. The umbrella-like stool, or cane-like stool, was invented by Uriah Smith, as were the school seats and the Pullman seat, or the train seat. He also decided that horses were afraid of automobiles because they didn't look like horses. And so he put a horse's head on the front of an automobile, but that scared the horses just as much. And so that invention didn't amount to very much. However, Uriah Smith was very much like Benjamin Franklin. He was an editor. He could do so many things. And when he sold his school seat company, he was able to build a big and beautiful house up on University Street, over near Manchester Street. And that housed his very large family. So he made quite a little money on it. Over here near the window, you will find a case that is about schools. The very top picture is of Warren B. Shepherd, who was the first school teacher in Battle Creek. And if you're just crazy about schools and school, well, you can stand at that case and look at it all you want to. In the closet, you will find beautiful clothes, and some ordinary ones too. Do you notice that there are a lot of ribbons hanging up there? Well, for years and years and years, decades long ago, women loved ribbons. Do you remember the song about Johnny coming from the fair and buying a ribbon? Well, that's because his girlfriend would rather have a ribbon than most anything else. The recreation case next to it shows you the very earliest orchestra. The top picture is of that. Below it, at the left, is the picture of the Lou Clark, which burned, and there was lots in the paper about that because it was a really terrible accident. In the middle case, or the one below it, you will see a picture of an ordinary. That means that the front wheel was larger than the back wheel of a bicycle. We have one of these, one of the very first that was sold in the city of Battle Creek. We have all kinds of industries. In fact, Battle Creek is called an industrial town. And we made threshing machines. The bottom case is the Advanced Thresher Company. And, well, you look around, you'll find everything, including, now let me see, what kind of a bottle is that? Well, you guess. Then you know that we're the home of the cereal companies. At the top is the picture of C.W. Post, who was our first cereal millionaire. And he made his first money from postum and from grape nuts. And both of these things can still be purchased. Well, you notice at the bottom that there are lots of interesting looking milk bottles. Well, the reason they were made just this way and had little cardboard tops that fitted down in very carefully was because Battle Creek suddenly became very, very aware of sanitation. And before they used milk bottles, the milkman used to come around with a big 10-gallon tank, almost it was, and he would bring it up to the house and he would dip as much as the lady had told him to leave, and he would put it in a dish that had been set there the night before. Right down in the corner is pottery that was made in Battle Creek by Henry Willis. Now there was a character, but then that's another story.